Oh, hey, how's it going? How you doing? You good? I'm back. I know that I keep taking these breaks, and I apologize for that. But honestly, guys, I thought, why just beat around the bush? Let's just get right into it, and I will give my thoughts on this video as a videographer right after this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I love that. That just takes me back to high school. They're bringing this to life my teenage years, which weren't too far away, but they still feel far away. Like I genuinely, thoroughly enjoyed that. That was so cool, man. When I was sitting there, that seems like that just remind me of like music that I used to listen to like when I was in high school. Be like, going down the road with my friends or with my brother. We'd just be blasting music, like, in the car and just having fun, just enjoying life. And that's what that kind of stuff brings back to my memory. And I love that. I love the fact that it reignites or reinvigorates or kind of turns the light bulb back on to those great memories that I had, when I was between the ages of like 13 to 18. And man, I love that. You guys can thank Killjoy because he's like, you got to check out Yuta. Like, you've been watching a lot of NCT Dream. You got to watch Yuta because you'll thank me later. And so, Aaron, thanks for that. That was amazing. But let's go back to it. I love how it starts out. It's such a cool way to have it start out. Like you guys know that I'm a big visuals person. I'm all about visuals and Easter eggs and everything. But this right here, just the way it starts out, is just so impressive. See, there's those rain shots I talked about on the last video. It's so cool. I love seeing the rain shots because honestly, I cannot emphasize enough how if you can get that just right, it looks epic. It looks completely epic. You know, I think back to one of my favorite series, one of my favorite movie scenes that I remember seeing that was in the final Matrix movie from the 3 movies. We're not talking about the 4th one. We don't talk about the 4th one. We don't talk about that. But it's when Neo is facing Mr. Smith and it's raining. It's such an epic fight scene, and the videographers, the director and the creatives on the set, they knew what they were doing when they did that. And that's why I say, when you can do it just spot on, it becomes epic. Epic. But let's go back to it. I love the silhouette right here, where he's, you have that orange hue from the window, but you can just see Yuta. He's really getting into it. And I love that transition right there. That transition is so cool. I think it's so cool. You know, NCT Dream, which Yuta's a part of, you know, they're really good about doing creative transitions. I love how it just goes. It zooms in on his eye. I think that's such a cool shot. And I love the effects. Like, man, there's so much I love about this. I can't get enough of it. Those kind of shots, like where you just where they zoom in, those are like some of my favorite shots because, like, you know, you get kind of up close and personal, but then you zoom out, and it reminds me so much of like my days in like ballroom dance, and you know, really just getting into it and just feeling the groove. And I love this right here. That right there is such a cool. These are such cool shots. Like this right here. That's such a cool shot. Like from a videographer's perspective. Actually, from a photographer's perspective, this is a really cool shot because you can still see his eyes. You can see his whole face, but you can see that he's in this cage. He feels trapped. You know, in photography, they do a lot of metaphors. You try to, like, you know, try to express how people are feeling in the moment. Same with videography. But I love how it just says, you know, an open Pandora. And, you know, it's just something that I love the lighting. The lighting, you know, I talk about this all the time. Let me just bring it full. Right here and right here, I've mentioned this before, are 2 lights that I have. That they're my recording lights. I use them whenever I can. And when I first started on the YouTube journey, which is over 5, and it's actually now more than 5 years ago, which is so crazy. The only kind of lighting I had was that. Now you compare that to that. So much better, right? This is why I always say that, like, if you're going to do anything correct, make sure you have good lighting, that you have storyboarding, and that you know what you're doing. You're not just going by the seat of your pants. Because, to be honest with you, it's just not going to work if you go, you know, like a wing in a prayer. It's just not going to work. But let's go back to it. That's so cool. Like that shot right there, I love that. you know, it's such a very, there's something charismatic about it. You know, you can see the raw emotion that Yuta has in this. And when you're passionate about something, like, you know, with me, I'm passionate about photography, I'm passionate about videography, tech, and things of that nature. But, you know, he's passionate about music. I'm also passionate about music, but I don't do it for a living. But you can just see the emotion right there, and that's something that is so that they knew what they were doing when and I keep telling you guys, storyboarding is key, and these and I love and I know that they got Yuta's thoughts on this as well, because you're not going to have a successful video shoot without the person who is performing in the video giving their insight. There's something about this right here. And I know there was a little bit of lag right there, and I apologize for that. That's this right here. This reminds me of the Foo Fighters. There's a song that I mean, it just reminds me of all their songs, but there's a song called Best of You from Foo Fighters, and this is what that reminds me of. Like the tone, the feeling, that's what it reminds me of. And he says one of my favorite lines that's from one of my favorite movies. Why so serious? You know, I'm a big comic book nerd. And I loved that line in The Dark Knight. You know, Heath Ledger just pulled it off so well, and I love that he... There's just so much I love about this. Those kind of shots are not easy to grab, because, you know, the camera's facing down, and you're basically panning around, but you're trying to make sure you capture the singer or like the person that's in the shot, and make sure you don't screw it up at the same time. But I can almost guarantee you, this took more than one shot. I say that all the time, but this took more than one shot. And I love that, where he just kind of zooms out. Like, it's, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, it reminds me so much of, like, different video games that I played growing up, you know, where you have this, it's like he's the general, and, you know, these are his mercenaries, his platoon around him. But it's so cool. I love the effect of it. And I love that where they change. Obviously, I know that's CGI, and people are like, "Oh, well," people say, "Oh, Tony, it's CGI." Obviously, I know that's CGI. However, that's such a cool thing to grab, and I love the fact that this is actually the thumbnail for the music video, because it's very eye-catchy. This is something that I can, without a doubt in my mind, tell you that it took several tries for them to get. And you may disagree with that. And hey, that's cool. But I can tell you right now, it took several tries. And these camera movements are amazing. I mean, look how serious he is when he does that. Like when he's right here. Like, look at that. It's the way his eyes are right there. It's so captivating, yet it's kind of freaky at the same time. There's just something that it kind of draws me, you know, as a videographer to this, and even just as like a photographer and just a lover of music. Like, it's just, it's so cool. And those kind of shots, like where you see them like doing the motion kind of shots, they're not easy to get. I can tell you right now. You have to do. They take several tries. These camera guys, they knew what they were doing, and you know without a doubt that there was at least 2 or 3 cameras on set. I love the camera movement. I love how they capture so many different angles. This is something that, as a creative, whenever I'm like, even when I'm capturing like photographs, for example, I try to get so many different types of shots so that I have a lot to work with in post-production. Such a cool shot right there. And I love that. It's like a slow-mo shot. This right here, this is going to carbon date me. I've already done that several times, obviously, on this channel. This takes me back to my in your mind, like 2008. Like, man, I was a little kid when 2008 came out. And yeah, I know. I'm no spring chicken. I'm a millennial. Millennials, we're all in our 30s now. But it reminds me so much of a picture I would see. That's the kind of profile picture you would see on Facebook and MySpace. Yeah, I referenced MySpace. Get over it. I referenced it. But there's just something about it. I love how it just gets those. You can see there's so much detail. There's just I love the fact that you can see all the detail in his hair. You can see the detail in his mic. You can even see the detail in his bracelet and in his other bracelets. You know, just everything about it is just because he's the focal point. I always talk about that. Focal point is key. Whether you're doing photography or videography, it's key. If you don't have good focal point, you're not going to get what you want. Take it from someone who, when I first started in photography, I thought I knew what I was doing. I flat out thought, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I was humbled very quickly. Very, very quickly. I remember my first photo session. It was a nightmare because my aperture was off, my shutter speed was off, and my focal point was off. You know, I was humbled pretty quickly by my older brother. He didn't, you know, it wasn't like harsh criticism, it was constructive criticism, but that's what happens when you're trying to improve your skill. You know, Yuta, for example, I'm sure that when he was first getting into it, he probably got criticized by vocal coaches, and he probably got criticized by other people saying like, oh, your voice isn't that great. But with time and practice, he evolved, he improved, and that's what I did. But going back to it, there's just something about this, and again, I know that there's some lag. My internet's been kind of acting up lately. These are such good camera shots and camera angles. You don't really get these in this kind of stuff very often, and I love that. I love how it just everything goes according to plan. And I love the transitions. They're so amazing. These kind of shots are what I was referring to. Like, you know, they're zooming in on the subject. They could be miracle workers, if I can get the words out of my mouth. And this is gonna sound really cheesy of me, but this shot right here, this reminds me of something that you would see in like a video game or in like a superhero movie, like where the final boss is coming, where you've reached the final dungeon with the final big boss. He's taking his jacket off, he's getting ready to fight, and you're just like, all right, well, let's do this. I'll take my jacket off. Let's do this. Look at that shot. This shot right here is such a cool shot. You know, because you can see the orange hue in the mist right here, but you can still make out his face. You can see the detail in his hair. You can see the detail in the shirt he's wearing and in the chains. Like, it's just so well done. And this was amazing. I loved this. This was so cool. I love the transitions. And like this right here, they have so many different people on that. I can almost guarantee that were on set right here, making sure that, you know, they had the big blowers that were just kind of making everything blow and move around. These are such epic shots. One of my favorite, it's going to sound cheesy, but one of my favorite music videos that did this kind of stuff, besides this one obviously, was Gundam Style. Because they did such a good job with using all the effects on set to make him look epic when he's, you know, getting into the Gundam Style song. And I love those kind of shots. The ones where you just zoom out. See, this is a cool shot. You guys are probably thinking in your mind, Tony, we want to hear the whole song. But you've already heard the song. I'm sure you've watched this music video several times, if not more. But I love this shot because, you know, I talked about those rain sequences. I love it when directors, you know, and everyone, when they're able to capture these kind of moments with water and rain. Obviously, this is on a set, and this was, you know, man-made water, and I get that. Well, not man-made. You know what I mean. But it's just so cool. And then it just goes back to this transition where he's just really getting into it. Such a cool, that is epic right there. Like, that is completely epic. Like, there's not much when it comes to videography and photography that gets me speechless, but this, every time I see it, it just makes me speechless. So cool. I love it so much. It's so epic, like, and I love that he has his bandmates in the background. You know, the different people playing the guitars and everything, really just getting into it. I guess they're the dancers, not the bandmates, but it's just still really cool. And then how it ends is just so cool. They just have this calm feeling. You know, it's just one of those things. Let me pause this. Obviously, we've already reacted to that one. But I want to bring this full circle because there's something about
Cause this is who I am.